Here we are live. We're doing a YouTube video. Today is Wednesday, September 25th. It's 6:52 p.m. Eastern Time. And we usually don't do videos on Wednesday night, but we decided we had some extra time and we wanted to get this video out.
Yeah. And because we're in the month of Elul and we are soon reaching into Rosh Hashanah, what's today's date? Is this today the
22nd of Elul?
Is it the 22nd already?
Is it? Maybe.
So on the 25th of Elul begins the creation of the world. Because Rosh Hashanah is actually when Adam was created. And I wanted to plant the seeds now because in Elul it says the king is in the field and the field is open for you to plant the seeds you want to plant and present to the king what you would like to see growing in the field and into the world. So I'm discussing the second stage of Mashiach. The Rambam lists two stages of which they can either be overlapping into one or actually experience the first stage, and then there is, so to speak, a time period of adjustment until we're able to go into the second stage of Mashiach. So this is the pasuk that is described in the second stage of Mashiach, of which we go into times of miracles, wonders above nature, but those miracles and wonders above nature are not recognized as above nature. They're recognized as they become nature. And that's what means when I say in the description that third dimensional reality becomes fifth dimensional reality to the point that you don't recognize duality anymore because you're just in a different dimensional reality. And so first I'm going to mention the pasuk. It says, Umaleya haaretz, dea et havaya, kamayim liyam mechasim. So this is a description of the second stage of Mashiach, describing a time where there's going to be miracles and wonders above nature. So what's really the true meaning of this pasuk? I used to have these dreams many years ago of these big waves that were coming ashore, and it was quite frightening. But like deep inside, I had this feeling, and I've heard from a lot of people that they've had similar dreams like this, like this big wave that is coming and covering everything. And I went to this metaphysics doctor or energy doctor, and he read my energy, and he I told him about this dream that was troubling me, and he said something like, you have anything you want, like you have, like, and I'm like, what does that mean? And like, what do you, so I came here and I spent $100 for you to tell me that, like, so what am I doing with this information? But we literally do have anything we want. It's just that we have to become aware of the fact that we're a co-creator. Anyway, I left the office at that time, and I felt this weird feeling of a wave that came over me, like literally like a wave. And it was the first time I had experienced a shift in energy. And then this awareness came to me. It's interesting that I didn't even realize it's connected to what to the pasuk that I'm coming to describe. It's really literally describing this change in consciousness. And this awareness came to me that pasuk means the water is a description of the Torah. Torah is water, and water is Torah. And the level of Torah that's coming in is the innermost will of God, the source energy that is coming into the world like a wave. And that's what's coming and covering the world, covering the consciousness of the world. And then I was like, oh, okay. So that's what it means. Okay. And we can interpret things the way we want them, right? So how does this relate to what I'm talking about this pasuk? So let's break it down a little bit. Meleah haaretz, the land is filled. Aretz, we always spoke about, is being, meaning coming from the word ratzon. So the will is filled. Dea et havaya. Das is when something becomes one with it. It means the knowledge is not just hovering over it, but literally there is a change in the person's way of functioning. Their whole, so to speak, the neural pathways of the brain have now changed to accommodate a different reality.
Shinui.
A shinui. And Mlea Aretz Dea et Havaya. Havaya is literally the DNA of our soul. The Yud Ke Vav Ke is literally the 10 spheros and how they're functioning. What is the will that's functioning? What is the creating the vibration in these 10 spheros, which is, Chachma Bina Das and the emotional attributes. What is
integration?
What is activating? What is the will that's being activated into these spheros? Malaya Haaretz, the land, again, the will is filled with the knowing of Yud Ke Vav Ke, meaning it becomes one. Kemayim liyam mechosim. Here's the key. Kemayim. So recently, there's been a lot of understanding about, water and how words and thoughts affect the way water shapes itself, and how you could literally create healing in the body by speaking certain words and then having the intention and then drinking the water into the body. So water takes on the imagery of the information that it's presented. So as water reflects, as they say, right? As the mirror reflects, as water reflects, kemayim, like water, reflects what? Layam. So the Rebbe explains in the Rambam that Layam, this prophecy of the Rambam denotes the 50th gate of Bina. Yam is the numerical value. Yud is 10. Mem is 40, which is 50. So what are we talking about here? What is being reflected into the world? The 50th gate of Bina. Mechosim, it's covering. It's completely covering to the point where the person is no longer recognizing duality in the world. He's literally, so
the oneness consciousness.
What's really happening here is there's multiple dimensional realities coexisting in this world. They talk about, it says that God in the time of Mashiach creates a new heaven and a new earth. And I've even heard like these spiritual people who talk about this alternate earth that's being created and how, there are only certain percentage of people who are going to reach that, in the beginning, and it'll take time till the rest of the population catches up. But in actuality, that alternate earth is actually right here. It's right here. It's a choice, and it's a consciousness. It's so hard to understand and wrap your head around it because our brain is built around parameters of, the laws of nature.
3 people watching and 1 like.
Yes, hopefully more than one will like. So in any case, it's okay. Either way, we're planting seeds into the world for the 50th gate of Bina to spread. This is why I wanted to put this out, because it's before Rosh Hashanah, and I wanted to plant the seeds of spreading this prophecy of the second stage of Mashiach according to the Rambam, where it's describing that the 50th gate of Bina is spreading to the point where we don't recognize duality anymore. We don't recognize something that seems to have a feeling of separateness anymore. So what are we talking about when we talk about the 49th, the 50th gate of Bina? What does this really mean? So we know that when we count Sphira, right, from the second day of Pesach until Shavuos, we're counting 49 days. And the 49 days correspond to the 7 attributes of the soul multiplied by 7, one woven into the other, right? So in the time of exile, we had the avodah of elevating the sparks, purifying the attributes of the soul, purifying the animal attributes, emotional attributes of the animal soul. But the Rebbe had announced, as we know, in 1991, that the work is done. He finished elevating all the sparks. Avodas Habirurim is finished. The buttons are shined. The buttons are the midais. And now what is needed is to take oros of Toh and put them into kelim of tikkun. Now, we spoke about this many times, but I'm going to bring a deeper understanding of what happens what happened then in 1991, 92, in comparison to what's happening now, how Rosh Hashanah fell at that time on the days of the week reflect, and how the Pashas fell, being, one was read, what is it? It's Nitzavim B'Yelech. So in 1991, Nitzavim was read the Shabbos before Rosh Hashanah, and B'Yelech was read the Shabbos after. Nitzavim and B'Yelech are representing different. Nitzavim is more like connected with standing, having a consistency, standing in your
Kingship.
No, Nitzavim is like more male energy.
Yeah.
Like there's a consistency, and it's representing godliness within nature. God created order, a certain order in the world. He created the world with 10 utterances, which correspond to 10 spheros, 10 attributes of the soul, 10 commandments. This is how he created the world. It has but it says God created the world with a blueprint. Asher bara Elokim la'asot. He created the world in such a way for us to add to it. So through the avodah of the Jewish people doing Torah and mitzvahs, we're able to add to the creation. We're able to bring expansiveness and transform the duality back into the oneness. And this was, so I have 100 ideas in my head that I'm trying to bring forth and bring it in order. So Nitzavim at that year, the fact that that year I was mentioning was the year where the Rebbe had revealed bombs. He was saying that Mashiach is here. We just have to open our eyes. Just come to the table of the Seudah, the Levyasan, and the Shabar. Open your eyes, and you'll see that we are in actuality in the times of Mashiach already. What happened then was that the Rebbe had introduced, drew down through the Torah of Mashiach. He drew down the source energy that represents the vibrational frequency that represents Mashiach into the world. These are the lights of Tohu, very, very high supernal lights. And he said what needs to be done with these high lights is that they have to be put into the Kalim of Tikkun. Well, obviously the Kalim of Tikkun are the attributes that have been refined, representing the animal soul. Now, here's the thing. In order to put Oris of Tohu, Mashiach consciousness and oneness into Kalim of Tikkun, to have them be expressed in our emotional and intellectual attributes, we have to go and face all the different veiled realities of ourself. And we have to be able to be makabel them. We have to accept all the different facets of ourself. And we're now in a time where, more than ever, people are going for healing on in so many different ways. Some are taking, doing breathing meditation, which I do a lot. By the way,
energy healing.
And yes, by the way, yesterday I did a breathing healing session with a osteopathic doctor, and it was on a whole other level. I'll tell you that experience in a minute. But in any case, the call of the hour now, before Rosh Hashanah comes in, is to release all those trapped emotions that are creating defense mechanisms that are not serving you, that are keeping you stuck, not letting you expand. And the reason why we do that is in order to put the lights of Torah into the Kalim of Tikkun. We can't, if the Kali is filled with all the schmutz from before, there's no room or space for the lights to take expression, or it's coming in and there's a contradiction between the higher lights and the pre-existing information or darker, dense energy. And it creates a feeling of illness or anxiety or depression and literally, I'll tell you my personal experience so that you can have an understanding of what I'm talking about. So for the last week or so, I had these symptoms that came that first of all, there was this ringing in my ear, a relentless, strong ringing in the ear. And usually I'm able to bypass it and then it goes away. But this time it was getting stronger and stronger. It was like, okay, I know that when I have what they call tinnitus, this is my animal soul, my body, which is now refined, is talking to me. It's wanting me to listen. It's telling me I need healing. I need healing. And then I was having like strange symptoms, low energy, very sleepy, just left over from a cold, that just feeling of like I can't explain it. Just I don't feel like 100%. I'm not myself. Kind of feeling like foggy. And it just yesterday, like I had like a strong headache from the tinnitus already, and it was like, okay, now I'm getting nervous. I made an appointment for this osteopathic energy doctor healer for the following week that my friend recommended me, and I ended up going. I called him up. I said, I don't know how you could fit me in, but I need to come tonight. I need to come. So I had this feeling that I have to release the emotions, and it has to happen now before Rosh Hashanah. I can't take a chance. I have to release this because I don't want to go into Rosh Hashanah with this energy. I have to make this space. So should I describe it? Oh my God. It was intense. It was very intense. So the guy tells me first that that I was allergic to my husband. Said he did some the testing with your arm or whatever, and I was wearing my rings and certain jewelry, and when I took it off, I got strong again. So he said, I said, well, what do you expect me? Like he said, it's okay. I'm going to remove the allergies. You apparently, everyone, a lot of people have this. So I said, okay. So remove the allergy. Then he's like saying, okay, your body wants an intense breathing session. So I said, oh, I do that all the time. Yeah, you know me. I do breathing sessions all the time. No, this is releasing emotions. And I'm like, oh, the one where they're all screaming and look like lunatics. And he's like, yeah, that one. And I'm like, I don't know if I get, like, okay, whatever it takes. Okay. Nobody's, like I'm gonna go for it. All right. He says, okay, but it's going to take about 2 hours and you can't stop in the middle. And if you do, you're going to carry it like it's a trauma, and it can be very traumatic. So I'm like, you know what, this is it. I got to get rid of this stuff. Whatever it is, I got to go through this. So he puts on this tribal, music, like it sounded like the instruments that they use in tribes in Australia. Those long. I don't know what they call it.
Right.
It looks like a long pipe, and it's like a trumpet, but it's very long. Anyway, it was very intense, very loud, and then I guess it's supposed to bring you to a different brainwave to function in a theta maybe brainwave. So that when you're doing the breathing, you start to transcend the boundaries of where you are, and you're able to start going inward much deeper. And then he was like touching different parts of the body, especially my sternum, and here he said you had a voice and you weren't able to use your voice, and the liver. He says, oh, there's a lot of anger. Oh, there's I mean, I don't know I don't know if there was an organ he did not touch, but it was intense. And it was, after I was done, I felt exhausted. But I will tell you that I'm feeling so much better today, and the ringing is gone. The ringing in my ear is gone. So I said, now I know for sure that when I get that signal, this is my body saying, it's time to shed this layer. It's time you find how you can shed this layer. In any case, it's almost like you take, you have to like shave, gold in order to put a stone in there or something. I don't know. This is the image that's coming in my mind. And it's the same thing, with the body. In order for the essence of the soul to take expression in the body, you have to get rid of the residue. And that's what I experienced. And then you could really flourish and really come into your highest potential, and you're not holding back anymore. for whatever belief system you have. You want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say first, when you're talking about that pasuk, it's almost like the greatest miracle is to have a change in the consciousness, like the Aleinu prayer, that all the nations of the world will know Hashem, will know the oneness of Hashem. In that time of Mashiach that we are now,
Thank you for bringing this up.
the greater miracle is not any kind of physical miracle of victory, but actually
It is physical.
it is a physical that the greatest miracle is the change of consciousness.
It's not through war. It's that the creation is maskim. The boundaries and the parameters of nature are agreeing to changing their way of seeing things. And that only happens when we agree from within ourselves. Right. It reflects that reality outside.
So the any kind of conflict, or if we see anything going on in the world, it's just a reflection of what's going on inside of us. So if we say, why is Hamas doing this? It's really a reflection of inside of us what's going on. And the greater miracle is to change the whole consciousness, not to have a war victory, but to change the whole consciousness of Hashem would change the consciousness of everyone, all the nations, to understand the oneness.
But that happens through us. And again,
that happens through us.
To get to the 50th gate of Bina, we had to go through those 49 levels where, chesed and Lord. We had to go through all 49 levels of consciousness, of belief systems that had been engraved in our DNA coding for many generations in our ancestry and in different Gilgulim. So, even though the Mashiach source energy is here, we have to be able to draw it into our kalim of tikkun.
So that pasuk, I kind of forgot is it Malaya Aretz Hamayim Malaya Machasim? Is that the pasuk you were talking about?
Malaya Haaretz Deya Et Havaya
Kemayim Malaya Machasim.
Yeah.
Is this the pasuk you were talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. So another pasuk that made me think of this, also the pasuk that you love is Manaseh Yadenu Konenehu. Manaseh Yadenu Konenehu, through the work of my hands. So that the work of my hands, the hands are related to the brain and the hands working together, that this should be my mission, my purpose, that through the work of my hands, I could impart this to the world, this knowledge of Hashem as the mind. So these two pasuks go hand in hand.
So what are the hands? The hands have 10 fingers, and it represents the attributes of the soul. See?
Right.
And the hands actually represents the two hays of the name Yud Kei Vav.
So you want to say that pasuk? Because I didn't say it right. Manaseh Yadenu.
Umaseh Yadenu Konenal Vayehi Noam Hashem Vayehi Noam Hashem Lekenu Aleinu Umaseh Yadenu Konena Aleinu Umaseh Yadenu Konenu.
So what does that mean in English?
So to summarize, it basically means get out of God's way, and let you be a conduit for God's work in this world. The work of my hands.
May God work through my hands.
Right. So it comes in stages. First, it should be that the pleasantness of God, it's upon us. There's like a
hovering.
It's describing almost the chaya, the level of the soul that is hovering over us, or what they call the or makiv. There's an energy field that is uncompromising and it's surrounding us, but we don't access it usually because we are so much on fight-flight response that we rely on the indwelling light, which is compromised and limited.
The 2D reality.
Right. No, 3D.
The 3D reality.
3D. So, Vayino Hashem Elkeinu is like, you're acknowledging this. First, there's an acknowledgement that there is something above nature that surrounds me, that I can actually, you first have to acknowledge it. I'm not limited. First, you say, I'm not limited.
And what were you saying about the 10 fingers?
That it's the 10 representing the 10 attributes of the soul, the two hays of God's name. Maseh Yadenu Koronalenu. Then when you acknowledge it, then you begin to allow the expression of above nature, of godliness, to take I had the
Hold,
word.
take effect,
No, to
integrate.
to begin, and it's yet not integrated yet, but it's to enter, so to speak, to enter into our consciousness, to enter
Right.
into the body. Umaseh yadenu kononeu, and now to the point where the work of my hands is something that is above me, above my limited matrix, above what I understand. It becomes you become one. So above nature and within nature unite. That's what Nitzavim and V'yelech is all about. That the two become unified. That what is a consistent part of your being becomes it above nature, becomes a part of the consistency of your being. And how do we do that practically, right? How do we do that practically? So, I was having a share today with my friend Esther, and I said to her, she says, well, I feel like I'm in a much better place, but I feel like I have more work to do. So I told her, I said, when we are able to say that whatever is happening now is perfect and I accept it and it's precisely the way it's supposed to be, even when I'm going through a shift and the road feels kind of bumpy, I feel a little bit uncomfortable, I feel I'm not really, because of this shift, because of this higher frequency that's coming into me now, I feel like I'm going backwards, but you're actually not, you're only going forwards. The more you're able to accept that you're complete as you are, wherever you are, this moment is perfect as it should be, the easier the shift will be. And that's what means the integration of above nature godly consciousness integrated within nature godly consciousness. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's almost like what your hands are part of you. It's part of your physical body, but you're calling on an energy higher than yourself, above yourself, to work through your hands.
By simply surrendering, by simply not trying to, when we try to
fix or control,
calculate or control the outcome, and we think that this
is the best outcome.
If I do this and this and this will be the outcome. No, we have no control over the outcome.
Hashem has even something better for you that you can't even imagine. Hashem has something in store for you even greater.
So that's the key of drawing above nature to become nature. You just function on this level. Like it's, reminds me again of that scene in Indiana Jones where he's going to the ark that's like on a cliff, and he says something like, you just have to believe. And I don't remember the exact, script, but he said, I'm just going to put one foot out off the cliff, and then a bridge appeared, like a part of the bridge appeared, and then he took another step, and then more of the bridge appeared, and more of the bridge as he took. So this is how it seemingly feels right now. Like you're not sure where you're going, you're not sure if you're safe, but you've got to have that trust that circumstances that are falling the way they are guiding you to a specific place, to the next step, and the place is beyond anything you can possibly imagine. The outcome is taking you, and the more you're able to go into acceptance, to be maskim, that whatever is happening now is the way, exactly the way it's meant to be. You can't add or take away from it, but you just have to be with it and move with it and allow. So that's what means Umaseh Yadenu Kononalenu, and it relates to the 50th gate of Bina, because when you're in the 49 levels, that's a place where you're making tikkun, and you're doing the pilpul, you're going back and forth. Should it be this way? Should it be that way? Even in the avodah of understanding what is the halacha, what is the correct decision in the way we do something, there was a back and forth argument going back, even in this. And it represents, so to speak, how we were functioning in a place of needing to fix, and it's limited. But once that work is done and you enter into the 50th gate of Bina, which kind of correlates to fifth dimensional reality, get it? 50 is in the Zohar, if you take 50, it breaks down to 5, is correlated with that level where Kemaim Liyam Mechasim, you just allow Hashem to cover you with his, so to speak, grace, and you let they call it grace, right? And let that take over you. Let that nevuah, that awareness take over you. And at the same time, know that your choices of, if you allow the child in you to dictate, fear and limitations, then, we're limiting the outcome. But if we're able to, tell our thoughts, okay, stop, this is not serving me. And then you say to the child in you, okay, how can I make this serve me? How can I make this actually work for me? That in what I'm telling myself, then you turn it over. You want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say something. I was reading the Tehillim today. I made a new haflata that I would read Tehillim every day. So I was reading today's Tehillim, and King David was saying about how during the history of Bnei Israel, they did things against God. The golden calf, and they did things that were against. But at all the time, Hashem has our back. He also said, Hashem remembered his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. He remembered his covenant, and he saved the people from any kind of calamity or anything. So Hashem always has our back. So we have to remember that Hashem loves the Jewish people, Hashem loves us, and Hashem is inside of us, and Hashem has our back.
So is there anything else you want to say? I just want to say that the greatest victory is when we conquer our fears and our trapped emotions, and that creates in the world Kemaim Liyam Mechasim, where the nations of the world reflect back the 50th gate of Bina, of a knowing of godliness. When we get to that, then the nations of the world get to that, and that is the real victory. As long as I see there's an enemy outside me and I have to, I have to protect myself from him, or I have to go and defend myself from him, we're still in duality consciousness. The minute I understand, everything is my mirror, so if I observe the reality of what's happening and say, okay, what's happening inside me that's reflecting this reflection back to me, and I address it, then we see the big change, and a change in the nature of the world that is above nature. And that's what we really want to aim for in the victory of not only the war of what's happening in Israel, but for the true and complete redemption, for the Geula Hamitit V'Hashlema. That true complete redemption is where there is a complete transformation in the consciousness of the world, where the nations are only knowing God and only knowing peace and only knowing God's oneness, and seeing how we're all part of each other and how everything is affecting, things from, I
wanted to say one of Batya's friends who had learning from Joe Dispenza, she was able to see that the world was actually breathing, and had like these experiences where she would see the world breathing or see plants communicating. And it made me think,
Can I just say what it was?
Go ahead.
It's an exercise of breathing where they activate the pineal gland, and it's, they kind of draw from the lower chakras, bringing the energy all the way up with one breath, and then hitting into the pineal gland and breaking the crystals, and then you have this higher dimensional reality that you experience. So go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that by her talking about this experience, that she could actually witness the earth breathing or see plants communicating, it made me realize that, in the mornings when I wake up, I shouldn't look at the news. I shouldn't look at my phone. I shouldn't look at Facebook or anything. I should first establish that connection through meditation and breathing and prayer. Establish that connection with my soul, with my inner self, with my higher self. And that's so important, especially in the mornings and even throughout the day. Don't have that blockage by looking at my phone and making that block. It almost like blocks my hisbodedut, blocks my about my intimacy with Hashem, with God, and my ability to communicate with God is blocked every time I look at the news or look at the phone. So I just wanted to say that Batya's friend with the Joe Dispenza learning triggered that made me realize that it's so important to have that me time in the morning. Like that, explain it properly?
Yes. Yes. Because that's what you're giving out into the world.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so we got 35 minutes.
I'm going to say Shanat Tova Metuka. You should not only have a good year, but a sweet year, meaning revealed good. Ktiva v'chatima tova, and Ktiva v'chatima tova is meaning you.
A sweet.
Well, Metuka is sweet, but Ktiva v'chatima tova is to write down. So write down what you want God to grow in the field. Write it down. That's you writing Ktiva v'chatima tova, and seal the world in this idea of Umeleya haaretz dea et havaya kemaim liyam mechosim, description of the second stage of Mashiach, where human consciousness is now filled with the knowing of God, as the 50th, as water reflects the 50th gate of Bina, and it's covered to the point where we don't recognize duality anymore. And this is the seeds I'm planting, and I hope you pass the word around. Please pass this video around so that we get this.
Yes, we still got one person watching, and we got one like.
I wonder, there's no way for us to see who it is?
Well, this water sign water said, she erased her message, but he or she, I'm not sure what it is, but she said, God bless. I was the one who liked it a short while ago. She was the one who liked our video. But and she said, God bless, and she erased it. But
thank you.
But thank you for commenting.
I'm a water sign. I'm a
water sign. Water. Okay.
We're both Pisces. That's funny.
Yeah, we're both Pisces.
That's interesting. Okay.
Okay. Baruch Hashem.
God bless you.
God
all.
Bless. How do we
out.
end it? We're end stream. Okay. Signing out. Peace.